joining us. Welcome to the session of 2024 Northwest Interlibrary Loan and Resource Sharing Conference. Today's date is September 19th, 2024. This session is titled Reprints Desk, Bringing Users Back to the Library, and will be presented by Tony Landolt, Head of Academic Business Development at Research Solutions. My name is Susan Whitty, and I am the convener to this session. Please let us know if you can't hear or if you can't see a shared screen, put it in the chat. This session is being recorded with permission from the presenters. We plan to make these recordings available once captions have been added. Expect an email from us when the recordings have been posted about 3 weeks from today. We will take questions from the room and from virtual attendees. Our virtual colleagues should post questions on the Q&A tab, and don't forget to vote for your favorites. After the session, please complete the survey to enter our prize contest. Thank you. I'll give you the floor.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for some of you, I assume. I'm Tony Landolt. I have, like was mentioned, I lead up academic business development here at Research Solutions. And the first thing I want to ask anybody, because I begin to enter the winter of my life now, as I'm in now my early 60s. Out of curiosity, anybody in the room been in document delivery more than 35 years? Okay, and then I guess I'm the winner unless somebody says something else online. This is all I've ever done since the day I graduated college back in the mid 80s. My best friend from Stanford, who was a runner at Stanford University for a company that no longer exists called Infotrade, called me and said, "Hey, do you want to run around UC Berkeley photocopying journal articles?" Close to 40 years later, I'm still in this industry. And that, like I said, this is all I've ever done. And one of the more interesting things about what I do, and probably affects a lot of you as well, is how often are you at a function where somebody comes up to you and goes, "What do you do for a living?" And for somebody like myself, where I'm at a party, I have many friends who are like mechanical engineers. My wife's a chemical engineer. When it circles to me, it's like, okay, how much time do I have to really explain what I do? So to segue into that, what I usually tell people now is, well, I bring users back to the library. So that's one of the new catchphrases I'm using. We'll see how long that lasts, but it really is something that I use with right now because we continue to move forward. So a little housekeeping here. I have something going on. Okay.
They were concerned about the sound. It seems to be fine.
Okay. So one of the things that I really want to get out of the way right now is the fact that for many years, we've always been known as Reprints Desk. For somebody like myself who's been at the company since 2007, when I was like employee number 8 or 9 at the time, it's very hard for me to get rid of the name, but we are now officially called Research Solutions. And I realize for some, it's still a struggle. And in fact, even during this presentation, which will be very brief, you'll see me probably go back and forth. So we are officially called Research Solutions. We actually launched our brand new website as of yesterday. So if anybody's on their computers, you can type in Research Solutions, you could type in maybe academic service, and that will pop up on the screen. So when we got into the industry for document delivery, and like I said, we're going to be talking about our platform, but I also want to talk about our bread and butter, which is document delivery, the service that we've had now for well over 10 years and has really still been the bread and butter of our service. This is a service that has continued to grow and is still one of the most prosperous things that we offer. Now, in our academic service, one of the things that we take great pride in is the fact that we have negotiated rates from major publishers out there, so we have access to content. In fact, we have better access than 43,000 titles that we can deliver articles from those titles and have them to you pretty quickly, usually within a few seconds. The other thing that we're able to do is also, not only do publishers open up their journal content to us, they open up their books as well. To be perfectly clear, we don't do book loans. That's not the world we want to be in. But if you need a chapter from a book, we can definitely provide that to you. Not as quickly as an article, because as you know, and being in this world, sometimes the data that we get from to fill out a form when it comes to a book chapter gets a little messy, but we can clean those up and have them delivered to you in a quick, timely manner. And something that we find very interesting over the last several years with our negotiated rates with publishers is the fact that our average cost is still maintained to be around $29 on average. And that has held true now for the last several years. Sometimes it's $29.10, sometimes it's $29.75, but that's the average across the board. So like I mentioned, one of the cores of our document delivery service has always been the fact that we have negotiated rates with publishers. Without that, we really wouldn't be in a business in doing this type of service because we get the academic discounts anywhere from 5 to 50% off the paywall price. Like I mentioned, we have negotiated rates, seamless integration, no embargoes. Publishers generally open up all the content to us. And that's really been one of the strengths too of that service. One of the things that I learned very early on and being in the academic world, having done corporate for many, well, decades really, is the fact that what I learned early on is in the corporate world, you can always call up a pharmaceutical company, you can call up a biotech company and simply say, hey, how would you like to use our service? And we can give you this basically the entire will for a service. And generally, the corporate side can do that. In the academic world, we are just a spoke in your wheel. We're a part of your workflow. And one of the things I learned early on was that we needed to be a part of the ILSs out there. So hence our very first partner was my colleague, Mike Richin from Rapid. That came next to with Peter Collins at OCLC. Then of course, Iliad came on board. And of course, my good friend, Mark Sullivan from the IDS project. So we work with all those sources out there to really be a part of your workflow. So whatever service of any of these services that you use, we can be a part of that workflow. You can have us upstream, downstream, doesn't matter where we fit. I will say this, that over the last few years, one of the things that we find really interesting is the fact that we've seen an uptake of people just using our order form and just ordering articles directly. And we find that really interesting. We're trying to figure out why is that. It might be a cost issue, but they're just ordering directly from our website because it's very easy for them to do. One of the things that really makes our document delivery service very complete, this is actually another growing thing, is the fact that we can work with getting print materials. 14 to 17% of our daily article requests are for print articles. And we have many great sources from around the globe. British Library, we rank #1, but as many of you know, the BL is going through some problems as they were hacked last year, but we found other sources to fill those gaps. And we continue to show that our turnaround time for print articles is actually around 10 to 15 hours on average. And we're starting to see it going down even more now because we work around the clock to fulfill the content for you as we have sources from around the globe to grab this access. One of the things that really put us even more on the map was last year, we signed an agreement with the Royal Danish Library. We handle the entire country's document delivery. And that's really a pretty cool thing. And we find that very interesting and very thrilling to be working with a country like that. We're starting to get now inquiries from other countries now about possibly doing some of this stuff as well. So like I said, this is a big win for us. Before we wrap up and jump into Article Galaxy Scholar, I would like to talk about some of the things that sort of like bridge the document delivery service with Article Galaxy Scholar are these 5 points here. We're always adding new publishers. They're driven by our clients, such as yourself, who come to us and say, I noticed that you don't have a relationship with this particular publisher. That continues to grow. Number 2, we have a service called CPP, which sounds like a Russian hockey team, but we call it copyright paid purchases. So when you determine your patrons have exceeded fair use guidelines, we can help. With our negotiated discounts, we can save you time and money. Number 3, we acquired a company last November called Cite AI. And I know for many of you, Cite's very interesting, or AI is very interesting for many of you in general. Talking to many of your colleagues, or you're either embracing it or you're afraid of it. I'm willing to listen to both sides. But I will say this, if anybody out there is interested in getting a free account, you would like to play around with the platform yourself, we are actually in the midst of doing deals with free trials for universities now where they get to trial it for 3 months for the entire campus. We are doing that currently as well. Once again, if you're interested in this AI in that world, let me know. Number 4, new relationships and partners. Our best new partner right now currently is LibKey. That relationship is continuing to grow, and there's a lot of development in that. When I say relationships and partners, I also like to include consortiums in that group as well. We work with well over 20 US consortiums right now. The ones that we recently added were Vail in New Jersey. We have a deal with Orbis Cascade, and we're finalizing our agreement with the Colorado Alliance. So we work with many consortiums. And then finally, resellers globally. That's really sort of a cool service for us because it is sort of something that we can our bandwidth is kind of limited, so we rely on sources from around the globe, like in South Africa and in Japan, to help us resell our products. So now we're going to talk about, for the next several minutes, Article Galaxy Scholar, transforming access. One of the things I'll quickly talk about is how AGS came about. UC San Diego came to us about 2017, 2018. Like I mentioned before, as I get older, everything becomes a blur. One of the things that they were able to do for us is they said to us point blank, we find it really cool that you're able to provide content fairly quickly here in Interlibrary Loan, but we have a core group of faculty who would really like to get access to content quicker. Is there anything you can do for us? So one of the things that we ended up doing was just simply giving them a document delivery account, log into our database system, order the articles. The good news is it worked really well. The bad news is they were ordering articles that the university already owned. So hence, we put our thinking caps on, my colleague Scott Alberg and I, we sat down, and for about 2 years, we developed this platform called Article Galaxy Scholar, which we released in March of 2020, 1 week before the pandemic hit. And now I'm going to give you a real good overview of how this platform really works and why it's become very successful for a lot of universities. So 90%, or I should say 99% of our Article Galaxy Scholars, the discovery is either Alma, Primo, or EBSCO. So a user comes in, they're doing a search. And let's suppose I'm a faculty member at University of Oregon. I'm doing my search. I click on that link. And if David and his team has decided that I am a preferred member here at University of Oregon, I click on that link. And within 5 to 7 seconds, that article pops up in the browser. So we've made it so quick now that in 5 to 7 seconds, that article will pop up in the browser. By this time next year, we hope to have it down to 3 seconds, to have that situation where we're able to provide that article quickly and efficiently. Now, when I was an undergrad, let's suppose if I'm an undergrad currently, I don't think I ever read a peer review article to save my life. If I click on that same link that that faculty member did, what will happen is that article will automatically flow into Interlibrary Loan, populate your form, and at that point, the ILL department takes over from there. The third option, which is basically a shell of the whole process, is doesn't matter if you've been a faculty member for 30 years or if you're a first week undergrad. If we both click on that same exact link and it happens to be open access, the article will be taken to, you'll be taken to the open access content. So once again, it's 3 journeys that you have decided how this will play out. You can give instant gratification for a core group of folks, graduate students maybe, faculty only, undergrads, they've been taking Interlibrary Loan, but all the while, open access is still a part of the whole workflow. So one of the last slides I'll show you that I'll spend a little bit of time on, and one of the challenges that I had when we were developing the platform and really rolling it out was, I knew we had something really special here. I really wasn't quite sure really what we had. Was it a document delivery tool? Was it an access service tool? Was it a collection development tool? And I give a lot of credit to Felicity Walsh in particular from MIT, who said, it's really all that. It's really a great tool for all of us to utilize and use. And so hence, one of the things that I sat down and shared with a lot of our users was have them help me shape the way that this should be talked about and released to the more for the general population. And so one of the things that a lot of our focus groups and user groups mentioned to me was talk about just a few things, but here's the points you really need to talk about. 1, saves valuable staff time. Takes the pressure off possibly Interlibrary Loan that you already predetermined in advance that these articles are going to be filled by Research Solutions. That's one of the great savings right there. We save you staff time. Number 2, and this has really been one of the more interesting things about the platform, and something that I really initially missed when we rolled it out, was better usage data and insights. Because now all of a sudden, as you begin to use the platform on a regular basis, you'll start getting to know your users once again. You'll figure out what they need, how much they need, which departments are using it, what are they downloading. You're going to have that all at your fingertips. And this has turned out to be a big win for a lot of universities because it becomes something that can help you make better decisions moving forward. So we're seeing this quite a lot for a lot of universities. I visited some schools where they take all our data and they have all these spreadsheets and they show me, look what you're providing us. You're actually bringing the users back to us. We now can go to certain departments and work with them to figure out exactly what they need. And this has really been a key value to the whole platform itself. The other thing is limits and controls. One of the things that we found is, and one of the fears about Article Galaxy Scholar is the fact that, oh my God, if I open this up to my university, I'm going to blow my budget. And the reality is, if it is you control the limits, you control the users, you control the content, you control all that. That's all at your fingertips. If you have a rogue user, you can turn them off. If you see content not being utilized, you maybe want to cut it down. This is one of the great things about the platform. It really does give you a lot of controls. As one university library director told me, I feel like I'm like the Wizard of Oz. I'm behind the curtain pulling levers. I'm deciding who gets access to what, how much. That's really been one of the huge values for this platform. Number 4, improves user experience. This has been also a really big key because, once again, the bottom line from this is there is no dead ends. There's always a place for you, the users, to go to. So if you want undergrads to always go to Interlibrary Loan, they'll go there. If you want certain years of content to go to Interlibrary Loan, you control that. You control all that on your decisions on who gets access to what departments get access. You control everything there. That's been a huge win for so many universities. And once again, no more dead ends. And then finally, before I wrap up and show one more slide, the expand and fulfill search results. That sort of goes back to the better usage and data insights, but really it's been something of a real big key because you're going to be able to do so many data dumps where you'll be able to figure out that this content all went to Interlibrary Loan. These are the people who were brought to Interlibrary Loan. These are the people who ended up purchasing. These are the articles that went to OA. You're going to have a lot of statistics to deal with. And finally, just so I wrap up, I'm a couple minutes over. Just to wrap up here, I just want to tell you once again, on my left side of the screen, maybe you're right, you can see that we have the traditional document delivery service. Keep in mind, our document delivery service is our bread and butter. It's really the core of what we do. We have access to better 43,000 titles. There's no sign-up fee. This is a purely transactional service. So if you're a library that just wants to use this through some of the colleagues in my room with their ILSs, easy to set up. We set you up and you're good to go. If you want to have a far more robust situation to really access content, then you have Article Galaxy Scholar. And that's really what you have on the right-hand side. So with that being said, thank you very much. I know I went really quickly. I think I was in my time frame. Oh, sorry. And I think that's it. I don't think I'll have time for questions, but because I think we have another session, but
you can ask if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A in Whova, and they'll still be available. The chat is also available, and Tony can answer them later at a later time.
Thank you, everyone.